Good morning, everyone. This is the 26th of May. We are here for a special meeting to discuss the recount. Before we start, our newest commissioner, Chuck Miller, is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One other important factor before we get started, Elizabeth, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Commissioner Taylor, you online?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Michael Taylor, you on the line?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, you want to go ahead and take over?
Yeah, so we called this meeting today. It's a special meeting because there has been a request for a recount. And is Mr. Vest there or
Yes, sir,
present
he
in
is.
person or okay? Does he have
Yes, sir.
okay, does he have his counsel or did he get a lawyer?
No, he did not.
Okay. So what the purpose of this meeting is Mr. Vest has requested a recount. We understand that Mr. Vest is intending on contesting the election based upon allegations that several individuals, at least likely 96 individuals, voted in the Republican primary election that were not eligible to vote in the Republican primary election. That's how we understand the nature of his contest. Based upon the nature of that contest, it's our understanding, based upon case law and other factors, that in order to proceed with that type of a challenge, a contest, a recount is not necessary. Typically, a recount is a necessary trigger in order to have an election contest, but because of the nature of the allegations that will be alleged in the contest, which are basically fraud, illegality in the election, eligibility issues, those are things that will not really be changed by a recount. And in those situations, a recount's not necessary. Now, with all of that said, if Mr. Vest wants to go forward with the recount, that's entirely up to him. But we just wanted to make it a meeting to discuss this and to get on the record, these issues and to assure what Mr. Vest that, we don't believe a recount's necessary, but if he wants to go forward with the recount, we're not here to stop him. We just wanted to make sure that he was aware that we don't believe that the recount is necessary.
And the reason we don't believe it's necessary is because we don't think it will change the count, because it's impossible to go back and see who cast the votes improperly.
Yes.
My name is William J. Vest, and I'm the one contesting the election. In order to go back as far as case law, you'd have to go back to 1905. That's when it happened in Fayette County. Counselor, I'm surprised you didn't look that up. But hold on, I'll give you the highlights of that case. It was a civil action in 1905. The civil action was initiated to contest the validity of the election results. So allegations include voter fraud and irregularities in the voting process. The case was significant in shaping local electoral laws and practices. Key figures involved including local politicians and election officials. The outcome influenced future elections in Fayette County and beyond. Historical records provide insights into the legal arguments presented during this case. And I'm really surprised you didn't bring that up, Mr. Taylor. But my name is William Vest. I'm an Army veteran. Uh, I served this state for 35 years in corrections. We started out as CO1, promoted all the way to superintendent, where for the last 12 years, that's what I was. Sometimes I was in control of 405 employees. One other thing that I would like to bring up, Mr. Brennan, is nothing against you, but I believe someone on this is your stepson, and that is Austin Haynes. I was ensured by you, Mr. Taylor, that Mr. Brennan will be no part of this process. Well, that's been violated already. So I just don't understand where we're going with this. I work elections, so I know how they're supposed to be. You're supposed to go in, you're supposed to show your ID. They look you up in the book. They tear off a stub that's in at the end. They give you your ballot after being signed by both clerks. Then you should be escorted to the machine where your ballot is pulled up. You vote. It spits out your ballot. Then you take it over to the commissioners. One will take and tear off the end of that, off the end of the ballot, string it along with the stub, and then put it into the machine. I know this, but as a parent, that the I don't know how many districts did not do this. So my relief is, and I do believe that there should be a special election. I'm not taking away from Mr. Haynes or Mr. Love, but all these votes are tainted. They're tainted. And folks, what are we going to do? If you can't hold an election, and I always said that it was fair and it was secure, but it's apparent that that didn't happen. And I think that the poll workers need to be trained a little bit better. And we should put 5 people in each one of those polls. 5. And if you review back on it, look and see where there was 3, I would work with 2, me and another person. So you tell me what's right. And let me ask you, if you were in that election and you come up and you were 94 votes, say 94 votes was yours, but they were given to someone else and they were illegal, what would you do? Mr. Miller, you've been in a race for sheriff. What if you were 94 votes? What would you do? That's what I asked. And I asked this commission to do the right thing, because if you don't, then our elections are nothing. And you wonder why people don't want to come out and vote? That's the reason. This just magnifies everything and puts it under a microscope. But it's all out there. Okay. So do you want to do the right thing through this commission, or do you want to do the wrong thing? Wrong thing would be saying, nah, it's no big deal. But do you want to do the right thing? And I ask you to do a special election. It won't cost nothing. Do it right over here to Memorial Building, just like early voting. Have it say August, because I don't want anybody slighted. And give everybody an opportunity to go back and remind their voters that there'll be a special election. And hold it. Because if you don't, our elections are nothing. Nothing. You might as well just not even have an election. And we know nationwide that that's been going on. So here
Okay,
in
Mr.
Fayette,
Vest,
are we gonna be, the
Mr.
star of
Vest,
that? Or are we just gonna be like everyone else? Yes, Ms. Taylor.
Mr. Vest, I wanted to clarify a couple of things for you. The purpose of today's hearing, and John wasn't going to vote on anything today. He's not going to participate in the vote. That's why we hurried to get Chuck sworn in last Friday, so he and I could be the ones to vote, and John could abstain. But the other thing is, we agree with you about all that you're saying. I mean, we're as upset as anybody about the what happened, and the prosecutor's investigating that. The purpose of today's hearing, though, is mainly I know that the Secretary of State's lawyer told you that you needed to request a vote recount to start the process, and that's true. And you're entitled to it if you want it. But our concern was we just wanted to let you know that based on what happened, a recount's going to come up the same. The numbers are going to be the same because there's no way to recast those votes. So this is just about whether we're going to do a recount. The next step in the process is the contesting the election, where you would ask us and present evidence to get us and ask us to do a special election. That would be a different hearing, and I'm sorry that it's so inconvenient, but there's a lot more to it that we would have to get ready for. But today, the thing that concerned us is that we didn't want you to, because if the numbers are the same, which we fully expect they will be in a recount, um, then it would cost you money for nothing. And you can skip that step. Like, we have to vote today to allow you to skip that step. That's why, everybody agreed to meet today in case you didn't want to do it. We had to schedule it because John wasn't able to vote on this issue. So we had to wait until Chuck was appointed and in office before we could even give you the option to skip the recount if you wanted to. And you don't have to. I just don't want it to cost you money for no reason, and you're not losing any rights because you'll get to automatically go to the next step. So our question is whether you want us to go through the recount on Friday or not.
And then let me just, for the record, point out, Mr. Vest pointed out case law from the early 1900s. And, yes, I did read that case. You sent it to me. I sent you back a case from the year 2000. The way that the law works generally is we look at the most recent court opinion on an issue as what that means for what the law is. So the most recent case, which is from 2000, and it's actually also in a syllabus point, which is in West Virginia means something, unlike other states. Syllabus point is a declaration of what the law is. The court can't stray from a syllabus point. Syllabus point 5 of the case says, in part, where, however, a candidate seeks to contest only such matters as fraud, an elected
During that
candidate's
civil action,
eligibility, or the legality of the election, the candidate may proceed directly with an election contest pursuant to the provisions of West Virginia Code 376, thereby omitting the recount procedure set forth in West Virginia Code 369, provided that any recount proceeding which was otherwise initiated has terminated. So that's the purpose of this meeting, is whether you wish to exercise your right under syllabus point 5 of this case, or whether you wish to go forward with the recount. And it's really your decision. We just wanted to make you well aware of all of the factors in order to make your decision on that. So if you could just announce for the record whether you wish to go forward with the recount, and in the affirmative, yes, or no, you're willing to waive the recount, then the commission can take such action as necessary based upon your answer to that question.
Counselor, I read that decision, and the reason why it was actually even in circuit court was due to the fact that the man filed 4 days after, not, that was the whole premise of the whole case. I had my money in within 12 hours. And
Yeah, and Mr. Vest, you
you're
have
talking,
preserved
and I
your
know Ms.
right. You
Taylor,
have,
please let me finish.
pardon
Can
me?
can I finish?
Sure. But this
Okay,
hearing isn't about the case or
I
asking
understand
for.
that. I
Okay.
understand that. But the whole thing about it is, just like I was trying to say, the attorney was referring to a case that don't even apply to this. And it's just basically muddy in the waters as far as I'm concerned. It is clear, and I've heard it's gonna cost me thousands of dollars. Well, I talked to Miss Hawley and it cost me $300. And I'm kind of confused here, and I've heard it from the Secretary of State's office. I've heard it from let's see, Mr. Michael Taylor, that's gonna cost you thousands of dollars. What is that telling this body? It's telling this body that you can't get justice because it's gonna cost you thousands of dollars to do a recount. When Miss Holly can do it at her desk, okay? And that really disappoints me with our elections. It's gonna cost you $1,000. You know what it's telling me? If you have money, you can challenge. If you don't have money and you're poor, guess what? You don't have an opportunity. Well, I'll tell this body, I'm not in the poor state, okay? And I'm willing to fight for the rights of not only me, but the people of Fayette County, especially the Plateau District. There's 1,800 voters. And I think that their voices should be heard. It really surprises me. There's nobody in this chambers today, but that's fine. Do I want to recount? If it's going to be the same numbers, why do it? And I think that it needs to be clear out of the clerk's office how much it would cost a person. And the $300 I was told was for a bond. And then I was requested to go get a bond from the county commission, the administrator. I had
Is
to run to get a
Michelle?
bond. Now the clock is ticking, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna go get a bond. I give you $300. That's what was requested, along with the letter contesting the vote or the election. And I will continue to contest this. But you see, there's no attorneys in the room because they're not concerned either. Now, if I was a convict that had committed a crime, they'd be all over me. But because I'm a law-abiding citizen, what do I have? But I will find an attorney. I'll be quiet
Sir,
now.
sir, if you could just affirmatively state for the record whether you wish to go forward with the recount or not based upon the discussions that we had here today. That's the only thing that we need from you today.
Will it do any good? Ms. Hawley, will it do any good? Can you differentiate between the voters?
We can't, we don't know, we don't anticipate that the recount will change the outcome of the
No, it's not
election
the
based
question.
upon your allegations.
The question being, can you separate the voter?
No.
So there's the whole point. No, you can't. So in other words, really, if it hadn't been for a person putting it on Facebook, which I see, that they illegally voted, I don't know if we'd even be here. So with that being said, it's just blows my mind, folks. It really does. But that's government anymore. If it won't do any good, and there won't be none, I think it's kind of strange that you can't go back and find out who voted where. But that's fine. No recount, but I do contest this election.
Okay,
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and so Mr. Best, the whole reason here is that we need to vote to allow you to skip the recount, and I agree with your decision because it wouldn't change anything and it would cost money for no reason, and you're not losing your ability to contest what happened. You get to just go to the next step. So I'm going to make a motion now. That the commission allow Mr. Vest to proceed to the next part of the process and allow him to contest the election, which would be to the county commission. And again, Commissioner Brenneman would not participate in anything to do with that because, as you pointed out, where his stepson is affected by this race, he is not going to be able to vote in any of that. And he knows that, and he never for a minute tried to. He just showed up today because he has to for any meeting we have. So, but he was not going to vote on anything. So my motion is on the floor. And Commissioner Miller, if you agree with my motion, I'm going to need a second from you, please.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oh, shoot. Okay, so the motion passes.
And
And
please note
Michael, can you
affirmatively
explain?
in, yeah, I was going to say, please note affirmatively in the record that Commissioner Brenneman abstained from voting on this matter due to potential appearance of conflict. And so he affirmatively he is abstained. If there's no recount that's going to happen in this election, I believe that you all have to now certify that election in order for the contest to then go forward.
Okay,
How do you certify election whenever the election is not complete?
This is not a certification of
You
the
said
by the county
certification.
commission. This is going to be the Board of Canvassers certifying the elections based upon their
just
ministerial duty to do so.
just like so what it means, Willie, is that the count won't change. So we're just certifying that the count is what it is. And so when you do your contest, you're contesting the count because you know some votes were improperly cast. So it's not going to change anything. We have to do that in order for you to go to the next step.
What is the next step?
So the next step is that you would contest the election, kind of like you did today, but with some evidence to Commissioner Miller and me. And then based on law and legal advice we get, we'll make a decision about what we think should happen next. And if you disagree with that decision, then you can appeal us to the circuit court.
Well, the
Is that
evidence,
right, Michael?
Yes. And what we'll have to put forth is we'll
well, the
set
evidence
forth
is clear and
uh,
it was sent to me, but all the evidence is clear. And that is the letter that was sent to me showing irregularities and showing what the, actual irregularities were.
Well,
Well, they had said 38, but
yeah,
apparently
you're
it's 96.
well, no, it was 38 in your election. Not all 96 voted in your election. Only 38 of them did in your
what we'll
race.
have to do is once you file your contest officially, we'll set forth the rules and procedures before the county commission to contest the election. I would highly recommend that you get an attorney because there is evidentiary and legal burdens that you, as the person bringing this contest, will be required to meet in order for the commission to, if you want them to rule in your favor, to rule in your favor. So I would highly recommend you get an attorney
See,
that represents you in this contest, but it's your right to proceed however you wish to proceed.
but you see, Mr. Taylor, that is funny. That really makes a lot of sense, right? We're gonna take and we're gonna put a burden on someone who has actually been shafted in this election. And you turn around and say, oh, well, you need to go get an attorney. You
Well,
know, that
well,
was, but it just
I, under,
upsets me.
I understand that, Mr. Best. We're just doing what we're required to do by state code. Like this isn't something that we're making up on the fly. I know you discussed the process some with the Secretary of State's lawyer. This is just the way it's supposed to work. But we had this meeting today because we didn't want you to have to pay for a recount that was going to, result in the same numbers. Like we wanted you to be able to go straight to the next step and to,
So,
so you didn't have to go through all that.
so I get my $300 back, right?
I'm not sure. I think that's after the end. I don't know. Michael, do you
Well,
know,
I
is the
don't know.
300 for the recount or is the
well,
300
nobody
for the
knows.
contest?
That's
Well,
your
we're
job.
going to have to, we could talk to the Secretary of State. We haven't done this before. So, we're, but we'll talk to the Secretary of State, but about whether the bond applies to the contest or whether it only applies to a recount. It may just apply the recount. And if it does, we'll give it back right away. And if it doesn't, then we'll give it back after the process is over, according to the law. Um, but we'll find out right away. We'll find out today, and we'll let you know. And if so, we'll give it back to you. And if you want to wait around, the call after the meeting ends. And
That's all right.
and if so, we even leave the building.
It's a small drive for me and I'm retired. I got all the time in the world. But the thing about it, I guess everything that, what I want to tell this commission is, it is a shame in America that you have something like this happen. I mean, if we don't have fair elections, we're no better than a third world country. And this is small. Okay, if it would have been a Senate race or if it had been a House, this place would have been packed. But just lonely on me on the executive committee, it don't matter. It does matter because this is what grows. If you don't address it now, it will get worse and worse and worse. And it'd be like, why have an election? Just point somebody, you know? And
Well,
as far as
it
the $300, I'm not. I just want to know if I get it back. And I mean, that's all it would cost me, and that's all I've heard through this process. Oh, you know how much it's gonna cost you to do a recount? It's gonna cost thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars. Cost me $300. That's what I was told. And it's
I think
coming from the Secretary of State's. I've been discouraged by that term alone. Is it's gonna cost you thousands of dollars. Because you know what that's doing? That's intimidating and scaring the people from doing the right thing.
no, well,
That is
no,
exactly what it's done.
this is no, this, so there are two separate things. I think you have to post a bond, which is what the $300 is, in order to request a recount. But then you would also have been responsible for the cost of the recount, which the county clerk would have to calculate, but we're not going to do that. So you're going to not have that. And that's when they were referring to potentially thousands, like how much it would cost to do a recount, because you have to bring the machines in and you have to bring people in. And, I don't know, Clerk Holly could tell you what all goes into the calculating the expense of a recount, because I have no idea. But that's why they're different numbers. But it's not something to intimidate you. I mean, you have the right to have it if you wanted to, but it's not going to turn up with different numbers. And we wanted to give you the right to skip that process so you can go straight to the next step, because you would have otherwise you would have the recount, it'd be the same, you'd be out some money, and then you would be at the next step anyway. So we didn't want you to have to, we don't like that this happened either. And you know as well as I do that this is your position is very important on the executive committee, because look at the decisions that we've been making in the past week. It's a huge deal sometimes. Like, we don't always have stuff like this, but we have the responsibility of picking the Republican candidate for the ballot, and given the way elections have been running, potentially the next county commissioner. So we are taking it very seriously, what's happened. And I agree with everything you said about poll worker training and stuff like that, and we've had some discussions about that already. But I, we will get you some information. I'll call the secretary, or Michael, or I will call the Secretary of State's office as soon as we hang up, find out about the 300, whether we refund it now or later. And if you want to wait right there, we can let you know. The other piece of it is we'll just issue you, we're going to um, write up something about what happened this year. We'll send you a copy and we'll send you some instructions on what to do next. Okay.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me? Because I'm kind of, all right. So at this time, I'm going to move that we certify the results as the Board of Canvassers of the Plateau Male Republican County Executive Committee seat, which will complete our election certification results. And of course, John will abstain. Did Chuck second? I couldn't hear.
Second.
Okay, so any questions or comments? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so that motion passes. Michael, have we handled everything today that we need to?
Yes.
Do you have
Oh, and I'll just go ahead and tell you the bond that he was required to furnish relates to just a recount.
Okay,
So
so we fund today. So Michelle, if your office fund Mr. Vest's money today, I'd appreciate that.
Follow me over there at Tinsburg.
I would,
I couldn't hear that, but
I would have thought, there's another one that, for. You know, think it's. You should really be concerned about. What I'm saying. It's got went up. Yeah.
okay. So anything, Michael, do we need to cover anything else for the record?
no, you do not.
Okay, will you prepare our findings or our like
Yep.
order on what happened?
Yep.
Okay, and then let's put both mine and Chuck's signature on that one. And as soon as that, we'll send it to you, and we'll send you information on what comes next. But I assure you, it will just be Commissioner Miller and I participating in that part of the process. And then after that, if you appeal us, it'll go to a court and it won't involve that. Okay. All right. So one more motion. I move that we cancel the recount on Friday and that we notify the other candidates in the same manner we notified them of it. And the clerk's office can do a notice.
Make a motion. I second it.
Okay, a motion is second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Does that cover it? Michael?
Yes.
Okay, because that kind of occurred to me after. I'm like, we've got to cancel
Yeah,
this recount.
guess it was kind of implied in the first one, but it's good that it was clarified on the record.
Yeah, and so Michelle, can you guys prepare notices and I'll notify the sheriff that we're going to need that to be served before Friday.
You do that.
Thank you. All right, I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All right. Good seeing everybody.
Hey, Willie.